Hey, this is my third video that I want to show you, and I thought maybe it would be interesting that people would learn how to do a tri-tip. Tri-tip also has some other names. Sometimes they call it the California cut. This was important to me because my father-in-law always made a tri-tip whenever I went over to see him. I was dating his daughter. So anyway, this is the tri-tip. This is it. Beautiful piece of meat. It's not too expensive. Sometimes you can get it, I got it for $6 a pound. Sometimes you can get it for $3, $4 a pound. But it's a nice piece of meat and it's great for grilling, as you can see. We're going to create a seasoning package here. I have a recipe here, which when I edit this video, I will tell you what we're using. Now, they have certain amounts here. If you want to take a quick look at that, that will give you the amounts. I just kind of ballpark it. So we're gonna be working on that. So this is it. I got this off the internet. So we're going to be putting in some garlic salt, and that's not going fast enough. So we're gonna pour some in like this. Just get a good little bunch of garlic salt. That's one of my favorites. So I always put a bunch of that in. Next thing we do is the Lawry's seasoning salt. I'm not getting endorsed or getting compensated by any of these brands, so just so you know, this is where I had to buy this stuff. So this is the Lawry's seasoning salt, and again, we'll take this off and we'll just put some in there. Ballpark it. Looks pretty good to me. Maybe a tad more. Lawry's is good stuff, so you can't go wrong with that. The next thing will be kosher salt. Now, I don't know what the heck kosher salt is, but that's what they call for it. So that's what we're going to do. And I should have probably opened this first. I didn't realize it was this. So we're going to take a little kosher salt and put a little bit of that in. We use a lot of salt on this. So we throw that in. After the kosher salt, black pepper. Now, to be honest with you, I don't like black pepper. So we are just going to put in a tad. Some people like black pepper. So if you like black pepper, put in a little more. But I'm not a black pepper fan. The last, let's see, garlic pepper. Again, you can't go wrong with garlic. It is like the elixir of life. People love garlic. Ooh, that was kind of fun. And put a little garlic pepper in there, or garlic powder in there. Put that on. We're doing well. And parsley. Where's my parsley? Throw in some parsley. Again, you can't go wrong with parsley. Parsley is one of those things that is like, it kind of cures almost everything that ails you. So if you're ever feeling bad, cook something with parsley in it. And this is not medical advice, but you'll probably feel better. So now the last thing we have, where'd my sugar go? Somebody took my sugar. I like sugar. So the recipe calls for a little bit of sugar. Well, we put in just a little bit more. So we're putting in some sugar. A spoonful of sugar makes the medicine go down. Well, it makes your tri-tip taste really, really good. So that's what we got. So we pretty much have, that's pretty much all the things that we need to create the season. This will be the rub for the tri-tip. And this in here is probably enough for 3 tri-tips. But we're going to do this. Now we have to prepare the tri-tip. There's a couple ways you can buy a tri-tip. You can buy it with the fat on it or without. I prefer to buy it with the fat on. To be honest with you, I like fat, as you can tell. But you don't want to grill it. This is, I'm recommending this all for grilling, not for in the oven. There is a method for doing this in the oven, and if you were to do it in the oven, you would leave this part on. But that's the fat. So we go on, and really it's just kind of rip it off. And you get your knife, just kind of come in, and you just start cutting it off. I took biology when I was in college, so I don't mind cutting into some of these things. It reminds me of doing some dissecting of a frog or two, but this tastes a whole lot better than those legs did. So we're going to go with this, and it's okay if you leave a little bit behind because fat tastes good. You can't go wrong with a little fat. But you just kind of cut it off. Try to get enough off. What you don't want to do is if you get too much fat on there when you're grilling it, it will flare up. So we want to try and get a reasonable amount off. So that's kind of the way it goes, and it just rip it off. You don't have to. This is not a really precise operation. There are chefs who would disagree with me, but they're not here. So we're not going to worry about them. Here's a little bit more. We'll just slice that off there. And that does a pretty good job. Take that off there. Helps if you have a good sharp knife. Try to leave your fingers on. One of the problems is, one of the advantages or disadvantages of if you don't use your knife well, when you go into the bar, you're going to have to say, "Can I have 4 beers, please?" And a little more challenging. So anyway, but that is that. Now you got yourself a nice chunk of fat. And we're not going to use that. That gets thrown away. So now we're down to getting ready to season your tri-tip. I've already washed my hands, so they're in pretty good shape. Now we're just going to take this, we're going to liberally put it on here, and then work it into the tri-tip. So just rub it in good, work it in. You want to rub that meat, you just get it so good, and it just is feeling nice, and you want to put it in there because you want those spices to just penetrate into the meat. That's what's going to make it taste so good. So you put that in. If you need a little more, you just put that in there, and oh yes, there it goes. Oh, you just feel so good when you do that, and it gets in there. And you turn it over, and you do some more on this side. And I really liberally put it on here, so I think this is going to be extra good. Oh, rub that meat in there and get that in there. Just massage it in. It helps to massage your meat real good, because if you massage it now, you're not going to have to massage it so much with your teeth when you're eating it. This is one of the special parts of the thing, and just get it good and going. And I like getting it on the edges especially. So if you got some lint on here, just kind of do that to get that seasoning all over everything. So there we go. I'm just looking there. I don't see some there. I'm going to put a little more on there. So as you can see, this is not a real precise thing. You just really want to just go in it and get at it. So this is what we've got. We got that all put in there. Now what we're going to do is we put it into a bag, and get in there with all those seasonings. It's already been things. Now you take, they say about a 1/4 cup of oops, this is what happens when your hands are all greasy. You can't open up the thing. I may need to have some help, but I'm going to try this real quick. There we go. So I got some extra virgin olive oil, and we just pour in, they say a 1/4 cup, but just get a good amount in there, and it's going to do a nice job. So that's a good decent amount there. Seal it off. Now this is important. So I like to get as much air out as I can. So that's not the important part, but I like to do it. I like to get as much air out as I can. So it's mostly just the meat in there and the sauce and the olive oil. And now again, you just massage the meat. Give it a good. Oh, and it feels good when you do this. It feels good. So you just massage it in, and that's going to make it even more tender when you're ready to slice it and eat it. It just is delicious. Now what I do is I'll do this 3 or 4 times between now and when I actually am ready to cook. So I recommend going in there and just getting your hands on it and rubbing it, and it feels so good, and you'll really like this. So that's what we do. That moves the olive oil into the meat, gets all the spices going, and we're going to have a really good piece of meat. So this is about the first part. The second part is when we actually go to cook it. So we're done for right now, and when we're going to let this marinate overnight. And tomorrow night we'll take it out of the refrigerator about a half an hour before we're ready to cook. And we'll get the grill going at about 400 degrees, and I'll show you what we do then. So there's the end of part 1. Well, we let the steak marinate overnight. I took it out several times and massaged it, give it a good rub down so it was good. You get that oil into the meats and tenderize it. I did that multiple times. So it really got good. Then I took it out about a half an hour, 45 minutes before we were ready to grill, so it'd get to room temperature. So now what we're going to do is just going to take it out, and I'm going to do a very quick sear. Most people will do a sear longer than me, but I just don't do sears long. So we're going to let it sit for maybe a minute or so on each side. And actually probably less than that. We're going to let it get a good little thing. Try to seal in the fibers. I'm not a huge searing fan, so I don't do it as much as a lot of other people who live by it. That charcoal gives it extra flavor. We like that. So don't feel bad about some extra charcoal that's left over from the chicken the night before. So we will flip this over and give it another quick, so you get some nice brown marks there. We'll let it stay there for just a minute or two. Probably 30 seconds because I like to do it not very much. Then our key is we are going to turn off the 2 middle grill burners. So we're only going to be getting heat from the sides. We're going to try to get the temperature in the grill to right around 400 degrees. And that's like the perfect temperature. And then we're going to leave it in here for approximately 30 minutes. This is about a 2.5 pound tri-tip, I think. So 30 minutes should be pretty darn close. We can always cut it a little bit, see if it's done inside, and if it's not, we'll leave it on. But that's the plan. So here I'm going to turn off these 2 grills. We want to do that so that the fat drippings that come down do not cause a flare-up. And so this way we get the indirect heating all the way around, and you close the top, and you don't have to turn it again. Now it's done. So just leave it. The temperature cooled down because they had open, but we'll check it back in a little bit. To see it, we want to get up to close to 400 degrees, which is our ideal temperature for, in my opinion, to get it ready. Now we are at a high altitude. I don't know if that makes any difference with meat. I know it does with water, but we're not boiling the meat. So we'll come back in a little bit. Okay, we had to come out. The temperature was, with just the 2 side grills going, we're up here at 8,000 feet, so it's pretty cold. So with just the 2 side grills going, it wasn't quite getting up to 400 degrees. It was hitting about 360. So what I've done is I turned on this burner and I put on way low, and I left this one back on off, and I moved the tri-tip over to that side, so it's still not directly above a burner. And we're gonna let it, and that's gotten it back up to real close to 400 degrees, which is where I like it. It's cooled down now since I opened it up, but just to let you know, that's my preferred temperature. You can do it however you like, but that's what's worked for me. Alrighty, I'll let you know when we pull it off. Okay, I think we're done. Doesn't that look gorgeous? That's just like the most beautiful piece of meat I think I've ever seen. Now, I don't have a meat thermometer. If you do, you'd stick it in there and you try and get it to be 135, 140 tops. But we're going to cut into it to make sure it looks good inside. Does that not look like the most perfect piece of meat you've ever seen? So we're ready to go. I ended up leaving this on for about an extra 5 minutes. So we're going to take it inside and we'll let you know how it tastes. Alrighty, we brought it inside. Now it's a good idea to keep it, to let it rest for a little while, but I wanted to let you know how to cut it. You want to cut against the grain, so we're going to go like this, like this, like this, like this, so it keeps a nice short grain. That helps to leave the, to make the fibers easier to chew. All my massaging does wonders, but this is what really does it. Actually, I told you that wrong. We're going to go like this all the way around, because the grains end up going in a couple different directions. But that's what we're going to do. So let's give it a shot and see how it did. Oh, that's a nice looking piece of meat. Now let me let you know what we're doing. Oh, that is amazing. So I just want you to know that this has come out to be tender and juicy and delicious. I'm going to give a piece to my cameraman because I know he's going to love it. It is absolutely delicious. So I hope this video was a real help in letting you know that making a tri-tip is not hard at all. And I want to let you know the thing that I really taste in here, for me, it's very sweet. So the extra sugar is incredible. So if you're not a sweet person, then that's okay with me, but I really like the additional sugar. So we're gonna go enjoy this meat. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know, give it a try, see what you think. That's it for now. Thanks a lot.
Subscribe.
Oh, and my cameraman says please subscribe to my channel. Thank you.